What's going on, guys? Joe here. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to announce I'm going to be taking down my channel on July 10th because I can't have one. Well, actually, it's past July 10th, so I'm going to be taking it down tomorrow, July 12th. Sorry about that, guys. I can't have one, but if you need to see any of my videos again, feel free to download any of them if necessary. I'm totally fine with that. And I am actually in the process of Platform Part 5A and Part 5B. There wasn't going to be a Part 5B, but there's a little glitch I noticed, and it's just a little fix for it. And it's actually literally encoding right now, so that'll be out really soon too. And I haven't been able to edit that in a while because, well, I have these specialized headphones, and I use them because I'm actually hard of hearing. I have a special condition. I'll put a link in the description if you want to read more about it. So these headphones, I think they work really well. There's a newer version of this, and people are saying it has terrible sound quality. This is an older version, and it has good sound quality. But recently, the wires have been acting really weird. Like, it wouldn't emit any sound through it at all. But when I bent it, it would then. But these are just like regular headphones. It has a headphone jack and stuff. But yeah, so that kind of sucked. So what I did was I figured out that there was like a broken connection around here. So what I did was I cut the wires apart, kind of took this open, and I cut the wires apart, make sure I had the bad wire out, and then I soldered them back together. I've been pretty busy with that for the past couple days, and now I got it fixed, so I was able to finish editing the video finally. And I'll give you a little spoiler. So Part 5 is about the final touches, and Part B is a glitch with shooting particularly. So yeah, I've been busy getting this fixed, and they're both in a queue for encoding right now. So yeah, but I do have some good news. I might be able to bring my channel back possibly in about 3 or 4 years. Kind of depends, but if I do, I think what I could do is write down all of you guys who are subscribed to me, and I could just simply write the list down, and then when I come back, I could go to your channel and say, hey, my new channel is back, and I've got some videos on there. Feel free to come check them out whenever. So I could just do that. That would work. Or if you specifically don't want me to do that, or have any better suggestions, feel free to let me know down there in the comments section. I will be reading those. So yeah, that kind of sucks, but I might be able to bring it back. So Platform Part 5 and Part 5B, I will probably be releasing them later today, and they are going to be the last part of the Platform series. So if you don't have time to watch before I take down the channel, or you don't think you will, definitely feel free to download it if you can. So, and yes, Beats by Yao Ming, not sure if I pronounced that right. I do have Game Maker Studio installed, and I am working on a game, I think, called Sausage Hunter, and I haven't been working on it for a while, but later on I can show you what it looks like. Alright, so here we are in Game Maker Studio with my Sausage Hunter project, and if you want to see this part, just skip ahead, I understand. But for those of you who do, why don't we look at the game? I don't actually have much on there yet, but why don't we at least look and see what we have so far. So we got menu system, kind of, and then we can just go to help. There's nothing in there yet, and it kind of gives a clicking effect. You just press enter or space to click. No options yet. You go to play, then you get these options, and multiplayer, no, that does not work quite yet, but we go into single player. Like I said, it's a basic game. You got this character that you can rotate around, and you can move them. If you hold shift, you can kind of accelerate. That's kind of how it is with 3D, and it looks 2D right now, but I'll have it look in the 3D perspective soon. So yeah, it'll become 3D like I just said. And there's a little glitch right here. It says sorry, it's not supposed to, but I'll get that fixed sometime soon, I guess. But yeah, you can just kind of move around like that, and then now that's pretty much all I have so far. You got the walls, and the collision ain't the greatest, but it'll work for now, I guess. I used to get stuck on there. I spent most of my time either with the menu system or trying to get the collisions better. So why don't we get out of here? And this is not the full level, I'm still working on it, but that's what I have for now. So why don't we look at the game? So this is a menu controller, so in the creative end I just have it run this script, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So in the draw event, this is where everything actually takes place, and there's a lot more code than there actually needs to be. So this is the menu room. So if the room equals room menu, then I have a variable that indicates how many menu options there are. So there's 4: play, options, help, quit. So this is what each mean. I have this variable called option select. So 1 is play, 2 is options, and so on. So this is the play button. So if the option select equals 1, meaning if play is on, like kind of selected, and we did not press it. This is another variable that I created. There was some bugs, and apparently creating these variables fixed it. So if it's 1 and we did not press the button, basically, then it's not actually white. I didn't just put white since you have to have some sort of color, and it looks normal, just like how text would. So, and then the font, global.sausage select, that's a variable that I defined. I'll show you how to do that. I actually have a sprite font, and I'll show you how that works later. And then the horizontal alignment would just be in the center of the screen. And then it'll just draw text, room width divided by 2, that's centered. And global.playY is a variable that I use multiple times, and that's the Y position of it. So I just created a variable since I use it a bunch of times, and then it just play. That's what sets it. And then if we either press enter or space, like if it's not pressed and it's on 1, then global.play press equals true. That means we did press it. I'll show you what happens when that is true then. And alarm 0 equals 3, and I'm using that so that there's like a little delay when pressing it, so that people like just kind of illustrates a clicking effect almost. And if it equals 1 and it is pressed, then it'll do this until this happens. So then if it's not 1 and it is pressed, well, for this it does a clicking effect. It's basically same font except it's another sprite font, but it's a little bit bigger, so it looks like you clicked on it. So if it's not 1 and you did not press it, then just regular font. And then same thing for that, and same things for options, except I just did options instead, and there's another variable for that, options pressed. And then same thing for alarm 0. So same thing for help and quit pretty much. So this is the actual keyboard control. So if we press down and our option select, that's this variable right here. So if it equals, so if it equals the amount of menu options, which we said was 4, so if it's on the quit button, there used to actually be a glitch where I could click on quit and then press it down, it'll go back to play, and the quit button would actually disappear. So I only wanted to do that if it is on quit and none of the buttons are pressed. So it won't do it until it's not pressed. So basically if you press it, it's stuck on being pressed until the game quits if it's on the last one. So if none of the things are pressed, then the option select equals option start, which basically that's 1. I don't even know why I created a whole variable for that. It's just 1. So if it's not that, then this is the normal behavior. So if none of the buttons are pressed basically, and if the option select does not equal menu options, then I don't remember why I put the +1. Then I guess it plus equals 1, so it goes from 1 to 2, switches to options basically. So then when it reaches 4, then this basically brings it back to 1. That's how we can cycle through it. And basically the same stuff in here actually, except this time I think the only difference is minus equals 1, so that goes up. And this is for the selection arrow, pretty basic. If option select equals 1, then it'll draw the arrow sprite, and so image -1, and this is what centers it, and I had to move it over to the left because I don't want the arrow in the dead center with the X position, and so I just did minus 128. I kind of tested it out, and I don't know if you know this, but debug mode, it would be really nice. Well, I don't know if you've heard of Eclipse, but it would be really nice if debug mode was like how it is in Eclipse. It's so useful. Debug mode is a little bit weird on here, I think. I don't even know how to use it, but on Eclipse, like with Java and I don't know other programming languages that it supports, you could like run the game in debug mode, and then you can change a value while the game is running, and then press save, and it'll automatically show up on the game without you having to restart it. So that's super useful. And GameMaker Studio doesn't even do that, or no version of GameMaker does, I don't think. Which it would be really nice if it worked like how it was in Eclipse. I would get so much more done that way. So room with minus 128, I figured out worked best. And play, help, and quit are the same length, so that's perfect for all this. And options is longer, so it had to be moved over more. And you saw how the arrow looked. It looked okay, right? I think. And then that's that variable. I used it again. I just had to change the variable once where I defined it, and it'll take effect for all the places I put them. And then the arrow, I put 0.75 because the way I do the arrow, it don't look the best. I'm no artist or anything, but I just kind of drew that arrow, and it turned out a little bit bigger than it should have been. It looked a little extra big, but bringing it to this size made it almost look perfect, so it works. And I just had white once again because that's just what I had the color to be. I could probably put false, but I'm going to probably go with C white. And alpha is just 1, meaning it's fully visible, 100% opacity. And same thing for all that. So then if the room equals the help room, there obviously used to be a glitch where, well, I used to have a variable called option reset, which I thought would fix a glitch I was experiencing one time. Like, I would go to a room and everything would show up, but the buttons on the menu would still show up. So I fixed that by doing if room equals whatever room index, then go.menu options is 1, and that's just the go back button. So it's white and the sausage select one, because that's what it's always going to be, because that's the only option. So then this is the position basically, and I had no variable for that, I guess. And then just go back. And this is, if we press enter or space, it'll just go back to 0, which is a menu. And with where I set the variables, that menu initialize thing, that's where I defined all my variables. I'll show you that in a little bit. And I also did make a common key like that, except 0 was the main menu. So yeah, so then same thing for the options basically, except the stuff on there might be a little bit different. Then the play button, there's obviously single player, multiplayer, and go back. So that makes it 3 options. So if it's 1 and it's not pressed, blah blah blah, that's actually the same thing as in the main menu. It works the same way. This is like a lot more lines of code than there probably needs to be. There's probably a way I can optimize it. I might optimize it later. I really don't know yet. So same thing for that. Then same thing for the arrow pretty much. I just played around with the values again, and I guess that worked okay. I don't know why I did. Oh yeah, this didn't matter because I had no arrow on the go back button. I don't even know why I did 3. So I just set the alpha to 0, so that means it's invisible. I guess that's just a workaround for that. Then same thing for this, I think. It equals menu options, it goes back to start, and if it's none of the buttons are pressed, it plus equals 1 again. And I think there was one glitch where, like, if you on the go back, it would go back to the top, but I don't think it matters because I don't know if you remember this, but it clicks, but it doesn't do like the clicking effect. It just instantly goes back, boom, just like that, and it doesn't click or anything, so I don't have to worry about that one glitch on there. So that's pretty much it for that. And then the alarm 0, where I set alarm 0 with right there and stuff like that. What's just happened? Okay, that's a little bit glitchy, I guess. I can't find the check mark or anything like that. I really don't know what's going on right now. GameMaker is being a little bit glitchy. There's glitches like where if the cursor's on the minimize, the green shows up but it disappears. Let me get out of this and then I'll be back if I can even figure out how to get out of this. Oh, never mind. Okay, that worked. So, no. Alarm 0. Yeah, GameMaker is a little bit buggy sometimes. So if the room equals menu and it's 1 and pressed, then it'll just go to room 3 simply. And then same thing for that, room 2, room 1. And then if it's 4, it'll just end the game because it's a quit button. And same thing for this, so if it's 1 and it's pressed, go to 4, 2, and not pressed. And then it'll just say like not available, so I used a variable MSG so I could set the caption for that message, so it would just show whatever message, and then with MSG, then when it was that caption, I was hoping it would just do it for the dialog box. It only does it for the room, but it does show up on the dialog box too, so I'm going to have to see if I can fix that. Because remember when I was in the game, I mentioned that it said sorry when it shouldn't have. That's basically because of this. So after the message goes away, it's no longer pressed, so it sets back to false. That's pretty much all there is in there, so why don't we look at the menu initialize. So there's a key for each room right there. Then this is an old variable that I used to fix that one glitch. I thought it would fix it, but it didn't actually fix it. So then go with that play pressed. That's set to false by default, and all these buttons are actually. Then single player, the Y position. Remember, I could just set it right there, then I'll take a place like anywhere else that I set it. So that's really nice. And this is what I used before I did if room equals whatever room. I just did a variable so that this would equal 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that kind of thing. That didn't work actually, so I guess I just did if room equals blah blah blah, room menu. Then if go with that option select, I guess it's 1 by default, because for each room I'll just say global.option select equals 4 or whatever. That's only with that one room, so it's not going to be glitchy then. And obviously you have to have the brackets right, because otherwise, one time I didn't have it right and it was just acting really weird. All the buttons were appearing like in the wrong room where it shouldn't have been, because I'm using the same controller for everything. But yeah, that fixed it, so make sure you have them right. So this is all the menu right there. I made a mistake right here one time. That doesn't matter right now. So that's the Y position. So if I changed it to like 150 or something, I mean, like watch how easy it works. So it moved up a little, right? And so did the arrow and everything, and it still selects just like normal, even if it's higher up. So that's really nice. So I think it was 170. Oops. I think it was actually 175. So then this is font. This is how you set the font. So this is the regular font. So because I did a sprite, I did font add sprite, and then this is the sprite with the font that I did, and that's the starting key. So basically 94 sub-images. I used this font creator that I found, I think on the Sandbox Yo-Yo Games website, which did get taken down a couple months ago. So I used a sprite sheet, then I set the whatever bounding thing so that it knew how much each letter was, or whatever character. So I was off a little bit, like I had to be like exactly precise, so I had to use the Windows magnifier to zoom in so I was exactly precise. That's just the width and height I did. I had to set that. Then I don't know if you're familiar with like setting your own sprite sheet where you import it and you select each sprite. I had to do that for all of these, I think. But there were specific numbers. I was able to just apply all those numbers. Like I took a screenshot of all the numbers, like horizontal, vertical separation, width and height, stuff like that. I just took a screenshot of all that stuff and applied it to each one, so this went by quicker. And those are the other fonts. So sausage font, that's regular, this is selected, and this is selected and clicked. So this is just a little bit bigger. That's what the difference is. So that's why I did that, sausage font. And then this is the start key. I don't understand why you need to do that, but like if you do exclamation, how does it know like what else everything is? That doesn't matter. As long as it works right, that's all I care about, which it does. So that's kind of cool. And I don't remember what this is, like proportion, like maybe I don't know, like distance of size of each one or something. And then this is probably like the separation or the space between each one. Two seem to work best. And basically the same thing for all these ones, except select and click instead. So that's pretty much all there is on the menu initialize. So with the arrow, I just had an object, so I needed an object for it, I guess. So that's all so I just created an object with the sprite index of whatever arrow. So in the player, you'll notice that I have the line right here. That's just to indicate what direction it's in. So, oh yeah, and I also centered it, because otherwise as it was rotating, it was moving around a little bit weird when it maybe should have been like this in the same spot. It was kind of moving around a little weird. Centering it fixed it. So in the create event, place wall is actually another script. I know this might seem a little bit crazy, but I actually manually placed all the walls. Like, here's the code for all the walls and stuff, and if I want to do like a space between them somewhere, I just commented it out and figured out which one was the correct one, and that's what the correct one was. I might remove it, I might not though, but whatever. So it's being weird again. Okay, wow, look at that. 2 check marks, one disappears. Just, I don't know what the heck I can do to get that fixed, but I didn't change anything, so whatever. I just select the direction of 180. I for some reason liked it on left better. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you the shooting. There's actually a glitch, I think. I haven't been on this project for a long time, so I don't remember much about it. So if I go to the game and then I shoot, what? That's not supposed to happen. It's not supposed to go backwards, but it does. It rotates as I rotate. That'd be creepy if it just stayed in the room and they were all going the same direction as you. That's kind of dumb that it does that, though. It never used to do that, I don't think. So I'll see if I can locate it. That is weird what it's doing. I seriously think it has to do with the ads, because lately it's been getting a lot of like script errors, and it's the ads, and it kept on coming up and the game was useless basically. How can I get this out of here? Oh, oops. I'll just select this for now. I don't care right now. So then right here I did like different wall collisions. Like, it was kind of hard to do the collisions, so I spent like a lot of time on there. So this is kind of how I did it manually. So like if direction is greater than or equal to 0 but less than 45, facing equals 0, and greater than or equal to 45, less than 90, facing equals 1, and so on. And then if it's greater than 360, it'll go back to 0. I think it does go past 360, so why don't we test it just in case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another temporary object so that we can see like the player's direction, because the bullet has the same direction as the player, which is I think why. Oh, that's why it's shooting in the wrong direction actually. So the direction should equal direction. So why don't we create that temporary object real quickly. So I'm going to create a new object. I'm just going to call it O direction or something. So we're just going to have it draw the direction. So draw, control. Then I guess we're just going to set the font color to black. So just do draw set color, C black. And I don't care what font it does, I guess Arial would work for now. So then I don't really care where it draws the direction or the direction variable, whatever it is. So I'm just going to do draw text. xy direction colon plus string player direction. So that should just draw whatever direction we have, and we're doing it from the player, so it just, whatever we place the controller, then direction, and then right here we'll just say the direction, and to have it draw a variable like the direction, then you just do a plus string, then whatever variable you want. And remember, we're doing a controller, so we have to do the player's direction variable. So why don't we just test it and see how that works out. And my FPS average seems to be higher while I'm recording as opposed to not recording. Like normally it's like 1,500, now it's like almost 6,000 for maximum. So, oops, I had forgot to place the controller down, so, is this seriously gonna be this buggy? Oh my gosh, I'm so sick of this. Okay, so I'm gonna... What the heck? My room is not even there. It thinks it's open, but I doubt it. I don't know what's going on with Game Maker. It's been really buggy lately, especially with those ads. Okay, that was a little bit weird, but yeah, like I said with the minimize, like, if the cursor's on it, like, it blinks even with the cursor, like, just on it, so that sucks sometimes. But for the last time, the room is not on there. I'll be back as soon as I can get this crap figured out. Okay, so I got it figured out, and all I do is minimize it. What the heck are these? I don't know, but this is for the direction, I guess. I'll just have it draw it right there. It doesn't matter if it's on the wall or anything. And just press yes if there's anything on the outside. Even though it's not really a tutorial, just press yes anytime that happens. Normally my maximum FPS is 2,000 something, but while I'm recording it goes up to 8,000. Why would that be? Recording takes up more priority. So direction's 180 anyway. Let's see if it... See, look. So, wait. It did actually reset. Okay, I thought the direction would go past 360 like forever, so I probably don't even need that anyway. So why don't we just delete this anyway, because we're not going to need it. So how about if we... Okay, let's look at the rest of the players. So in the... Wait. So yeah, I already showed you that, so this is just a basic control. So if we press A, direction plus equals 1.5, that speed seemed okay, especially if it was three-dimensional where you have that 3D perspective. And for D, then it's just, which is right, I think, just minus equals 1.5. And then for W, that's going forward, so we press W, and then if we press shift, speed equals 3, else speed equals 1.5. So normally it's 1.5 unless we press shift. Same thing for the S, and this should probably be negative. I don't even know why that's positive. Let's real quickly try S. So yeah, if I go S, it's going forward, and W, so that's a little bit weird. So this should be negative, okay? So oops. So then I just have it, so if I press R, then I just restart the room. So if I'm like debugging something, like if something was supposed to happen, or if it was just a random bug, like I got lucky or something, then I could just easily restart it without having to restart the whole game to check real quickly. So then if I press space, then now I am creating a bullet under variable as well, because not only do I want to create the instance, but I also want to set some additional properties for it. So obj equals instance create, or else you could do like with obj, then in brackets speed equals 8, and then direction equals direction, and the obj direction will be whatever the player's direction is. and you don't have to do the OBJ dot then inside of there because it's with OBJ. So anything will be with the OBJ. So anyway, so if we release the W over S key, then speed equals 0, because otherwise you just press it and it won't stop. But with this, it'll stop the thing from moving, or player. And I kind of clamped it. It doesn't really work that well, so you just do X equals clamp, and then the value is just whatever X is, and then whatever your sprite width is divided by 2, then that's the minimum, so maximum is room width minus sprite width divided by 2, I think. And same thing for Y, it's just room height and sprite height instead, and then Y right there. So that's pretty much all that for that. So then the X scale and Y scale is just 1, and then the angle of the sprite is just whatever our direction is, so it looks like it's rotating. So this is a collision with wall basic H, and then this is the key for each of those directions. So then if face equals 0 or 1 or 2 or 3, Y plus equals speed, 4, 5, 6, 7, Y minus equals speed. And then I think this is how I prevent it from going through the wall. This seems to work, surprisingly. I didn't think it would, but it seems to. So O wall basic H, that's a horizontal wall divided by 2, then O player dot Y minus O wall basic H divided by 2. That's the maximum value. So then inside of here, I did not do that facing thing, did I? I guess that I still have to do that, but then I did the clamp thing, and you saw that still worked. And I might not even need to do that facing thing. This might be good enough. So then in the bullet, just this, and then this is why it goes with whatever player's direction. So I think I got that one thing fixed at least, so that it doesn't always like go to the right or whatever. So if I shoot now it actually goes wherever I'm facing, but it shoots in the wrong direction. It changes direction as I'm shooting, which is kind of a weird glitch. So I seriously think it's this. I only want it to be direction, so even that's good enough, so whatever. Then in the walls, they're just solid. That's pretty much all I have in there. Then visible too for now. When it's 3D, it won't matter, because I'm gonna do like the D3D start engine thing, so that it's a 3-dimensional engine. So then like I would do, I think, I forget how you do it, like, I don't know, I'm gonna have the texture be like a background, then use background, get texture, then basically I have to associate that with this object to do whatever wall, then same for that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have for the game, so why don't we go back and look at the rest of the regular video. And I know I've mentioned that I will be doing the coding version of everything again, but I decided that I'm going to use GameMaker Studio instead for a change. There might be some challenges, like things that don't work. Like, I don't think GameMaker Studio has high score tables anymore. If I remember correctly, it uses something else, so we either won't use high score tables or we'll use some sort of alternative. So there will be some challenges that we'll have to face, but we can do this. So yeah, I have GameMaker Studio, the non-Steam version, and GameMaker 8 installed on the same computer in different directories. So for editing, if you're wondering what program I've been using, I've always been using After Effects. I know it's not really designed for video editing, like more the animations and probably visual effects, but I've been using that program because I was just watching these videos one day and I just suddenly I realized I was watching videos from the same guy, and then I was checking out his second channel, the Mr. Menagerie, or the Mr. Menagerie 2. I was checking that out, and I noticed some tutorials on how he did that, and he used his program called Adobe After Effects. So then I was just watching a few videos, and then I was like, you know what? I want to make that kind of stuff. So then I just bought Adobe After Effects. It was really expensive for the Creative Suite 6 version. So I got that, then I've just been learning stuff on there. And yes, I do have Premiere Pro as well. I do kind of use that for editing, but I already know how to use After Effects pretty well, and I've been trying to learn Premiere Pro, but feel like it's not really worth the time since I already know how to use After Effects. So I've just been doing everything I can in Premiere Pro first, and because of the previewing, how it's real nice in Premiere Pro as opposed to After Effects, I've always been just using the markers to mark the exact timing for whatever, like when I show whatever sprite. And I wanted to ask you guys, do you like it when I show you the sprite? Like, rather than just watching me select the sprite where you could just see it up close, do you like it when I do that? I was wondering about that. And when I play the game, do you like it when I zoom into the game like that? I just zoom into the game so you can see nothing but the game. Do you like it when I do that, or not really? Or do you not care? If you want to, you can let me know down in the comments section. I'm a little bit curious about that. I just suddenly got the idea of doing that. I've just been doing that ever since. So yeah, I've been using Premiere Pro to start out with, and then I used Adobe Dynamic Link to go into After Effects, and then I just finished the editing in there. So that's kind of cool. So now I guess I could show you some of my first creations on After Effects. I would say my favorite effect on there by far is the cloning effect. So I guess I could show you some of those real quickly. And I apologize if you can't hear me on there very well, but I recently got this external microphone. Hello. So I recently got this, so the sound quality should be better, hopefully. I'm going to definitely use those in future videos for cloning and all that. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy some of the videos.
Oh, it's too hot. Have you tried making it rain? How do I do that? Point your index finger toward the sky and strike it. Ah, that's better. Okay, start your interview now. Would you mind getting out of here? Sure thing, your interviews are boring anyway. Hi, my name is Joe. I'm the co-host of the CNN Cloning News Network. Today we're going to do an interview on the Wednesday Wars book on the month of September. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Oh, it's too hot. Have you tried making it rain? How do I do that? Point your index finger up in the sky and strike it. Aw, that's better. Interview. Hi, my name is Joe. I like making videos, editing them, or just working with the computer, programming, and all that. Hey, what's up? I'm trying not to pass out. What just happened? I think my friend Leroy had a pill. Yeah, so? It's contagious. I think that's what might have caused this to happen. Oh, I was thinking you were like Christopher Columbus or something. Nope, I'm your double. Wow, I guess I could just go instead of you one day. Let's see if any of the teachers would notice. Well, I gotta go. See you later.
So now, I don't know if you've seen this videos on my vlog or not, but this is another cloning one, and I did put it on my vlog channel. I don't know if you've seen it, but take a look. And same for this one. This is my first video where I actually used some visual effects. And actually for that explosion, I used some stock effects from Video Copilot, I believe. I think it was Action Essentials 2, and I got the 720p version for about $100 or something like that. And so yeah, I just suddenly got into this video editing stuff, and I've been using that for the Game Maker tutorials and stuff too. And actually I can show you real quickly my first commercial or propaganda project for school, I think. I can show you that real quickly.
I'm so tired and I'm never going to get my homework done.
You should do what I do, use iFreeze.
What's iFreeze?
You just drink this and time freeze it so then you can get your work done.
Cool.
So I'm going to show you now.
Okay.
Oh, I think I'm going to take a nap. Oh, that felt so good. Now I feel more rested. Yeah, at the same time. I better not freeze time now.
So, are you going to show me?
I just did. You didn't know because you were frozen with time.
Now that's awesome.
So yeah, that was kind of cool, and the worst part about After Effects is I actually use that to make all my thumbnails. Ever since I started creating thumbnails, I've always been using After Effects. I know that may seem a little bit absurd, but it works. So what I do is I just go into After Effects, create a new project, then I create a new composition. I usually have a 1920 by 1080. And then I have this video with me doing different faces and stuff like that, like this. I don't know, like a bunch of different stuff where I'm pointing at different places and stuff. You've probably seen them on my thumbnails, but I've just been using that video. That video is actually outdated. That video was taken about 2 years ago, so it's pretty outdated. I should probably update that sometime. But yeah, just kind of trace myself out, and then it's really hard to do that by my curly hair, as you could imagine. That would really mess it up. So I've been just smoothing it out, and since I recently upgraded to the Creative Cloud 2015 version of it, for some reason I can't really smooth it anymore, but feathering seems to work almost exactly the same as smoothing. Even though it doesn't normally do that, it just blends pixels together. It seems to work just like smoothing for some reason, but I'm okay with that. So after I trace myself out, then I choose a background. Lately I've been using a solid color, but for platform part 5, I actually use a quite a bit different thumbnail that I normally wouldn't use, but I think it looks kind of cool. I mean, if you want to look at it real quickly. So yeah, I've never really used a background like that. I thought that looked cool, and I don't know if you like blue or not, but that's definitely my favorite color. So after I get the background chosen and myself traced out with that video, I make sure that I freeze frame because I don't want it to change at all. I just pick a particular part of the video, then I trim myself out, then I would freeze frame, and that usually works out. And then I always add the text, like, I don't know, Game Maker Platform Part 4. I don't remember what that one was called, but I think it was improving the movement or something, but that doesn't matter for this. And then I always like to add little pictures from it. And then I always add the Game Maker logo. I got it from the original logo, and then I process the icon so that I could use it in the thumbnails. So then I exported about 10 frames equivalent because as a video, as an AVI, usually sometimes WMV, but once I do that, then I go into it, and then inside of there, then I press print screen to take a screenshot, and then I go into MS Paint or Microsoft Paint to paste it. And I recently got a second monitor, so that also shows up on the screenshot, so now I have to trim it out, and I just go to Microsoft Office Picture Manager, I think, and then I trim it. I just have to trim the right by 1920 since I have two 1080p monitors. I just trim the second one out, so that makes it really easy to do that. But then after I get that, I now have an image version of it, and I can just use that. So I know it's weird how I use a editing program to make a thumbnail, but it's always been working. And I used to have Photoshop and Audition, but I don't anymore since I upgraded. I don't really use it anyway, so I don't have it anymore, so After Effects does work just fine for thumbnails and making different photos. And you know that programming picture that you always see on my desktop and elsewhere? I use After Effects to create that. I think that was pretty much my first thumbnail. Even though it wasn't really a thumbnail, that was my first thing that I created with After Effects, I believe. So what I did is I just got the text. I can't remember where I just got the text. I got it in a fancy style. Then for me, I just trimmed myself out, as I explained before. And then for the Game Maker logo, I already explained that I converted the icon so I could use that. And then for the background with the binary code, I think all I did was I went to a text to binary converter, then I just typed a bunch of text that has to do with programming, that kind of thing, and then I converted it to binary, and then I copied it, and then I opened up command prompt. Yes, it looks like the command prompt text, and then I changed the color to that green hacker color, whatever, matrix color, and then I just pasted the text, and it was a lot more than it shows on the background. But then I saved a screenshot of that, and then in the After Effects I zoomed into that background with the binary code and stuff on it. I zoomed in where the corners looked okay, because you might look at the corners and some of the numbers may look like they're a little bit off, but not as much. But yeah, that's because I just zoomed in and then I picked out the good part of it and I just used that. So that's how I got the binary coding, using command prompt and a text to binary converter. So yeah, that's pretty much how I did that. And obviously for the text on there, I try to have it as huge as I can have it, because you know how small thumbnails always get. If it's really small, then it's going to be impossible to read it. It's terrible. But I try not to have a lot of text, but I guess it's okay. I don't know if you see it and are okay with it, but I think it looks okay. So next, I recently got a solid state drive. It's a Samsung A50 Pro 256GB. So I'm going to be upgrading my computer to that. So I'm going to be busy with that. And I'm actually going on a 12-day vacation first. And I'm leaving tomorrow. So on the vacation, I'm basically going to be deleting my channel there. So I don't know if you've heard of these places. I'm from the U.S. I am going to Glacier National Park and Yellowstone and those places, and pretty much looking forward to that. So yeah, so then when I get back, I'm going to be working on my SSD, getting all my files ready, because I am going to be reinstalling my operating system. I know that I can do hard drive cloning, but there's no way I'm going to be able to fit everything on there, and reinstalling Windows would just save a lot of headache. And I think I might have some viruses that my virus protector, Malwarebytes, can't detect, so I could probably get rid of those, as well as other cobwebs that are in the way too. So based on the price of an 8TB hard drive, so I'm gonna have to reinstall all my programs on there. I'm gonna get it as close as I can to look like what it used to look like on there. I'm gonna be organizing everything on my other hard drive, obviously, too. I'm not just gonna remove the installation. I'm gonna manually delete the files, including System32. So after I get that, actually right when I install the operating system on the SSD, I'm going to be getting the Windows 10 upgrade, and I am holding back on that, but I'm gonna get it and upgrade to it, and then I'm going to roll back to Windows 7, which I still like. It'll be a little while before I upgrade it, but I'm doing that because then the upgrade will be stored on Microsoft servers. So if I want to get it later, after the upgrade ends on July 29th, actually Microsoft has been going so crazy. They're trying to roll out all the upgrades. They're trying to get it on their base, like they're trying to get the baseline on several billion devices or whatever. And you know how they are. Like, the advertisements are terrible. And now with the Windows updates, now they're like forcing you to upgrade to Windows 10. And now there's like, you get a message and then it says like Windows 10's ready. Then normally you would press X to deny it. However, now Microsoft is making a really aggressive move, and now they're making it so when you click X, that accepts the installation. And I don't know if you heard, but recently on the news, Microsoft got sued because a lady got forced into the Microsoft Windows 10 upgrade, and basically the upgrade failed at one point, and the computer kept crashing so much that it started becoming useless, I believe. And so she sued Microsoft and won $10,000. So that was pretty good. So, and if you happen to be part of Microsoft and you're watching this, I apologize about that. But yeah, that was pretty crazy to read about. And I will eventually be upgrading probably in a couple years from now. When I bring the channel back, I imagine I'll have Windows 10 by then. So yeah, then I'll roll back and then it'll be stored on Microsoft servers, my motherboard, because the product key gets, and there are no activation issues, but I saw a tutorial of how to do it correctly without those activation issues. So I'm going to do that, then I'm going to roll back to Windows 7. That way my motherboard will be tied to the Microsoft servers, and the product key is tied to your motherboard, so it should be able to activate when I do end up upgrading. So now I think I would like to talk about my new computer because it's custom built, and I didn't want to like get the best computer. I just wanted to get one a little bit faster than average. And remember, I'm upgrading from a really old computer. The processor on the old computer I thought worked pretty good for an old computer, but it was the HP Pavilion A1473W, I believe, and it had the ATI Radeon Express 200 series integrated graphics. And the graphics on there, I think, started to get shot, actually. And now it has like this shaky computer screen, I think. It's terrible. And I'm even getting the blue screen of death from it. And look at the name of the file that's infected. Does that name look familiar? ATI. Yes. So yeah, I didn't want to build my computer because of that. I wanted a new computer for several other reasons. Definitely hard drive space. I'll explain more about that later. So for my computer, this is morely a 2013 build, I want to say. So for the case, I chose the Corsair Carbide 300R series, I believe, non-windowed edition. That's what I chose for the case. And for the power supply unit, I chose the Corsair CX750M, meaning it's modular, meaning I only have to hook up the cables I need. Because default ones, they have all the cables connected, and with the modular ones, you only have to hook up the ones you need, and that really helps with the neater cabling system. So I just use the ones I need, and there are two that were already on there, but those are usually always required for the motherboard, so that's perfectly fine for those. And then I just hooked up the ones I needed, and I was good to go. And the thing I like about the case now is you got the one side, your main workspace and stuff, and on the other side you got some room to put all your cables. So you feed these cables to these grommets, and then you feed it to the other side, like closest to the component you're going to connect it to with the motherboard, and it's really nice. It really does help with the cabling system. I can hardly see any cable to the front except for the graphics card and stuff like that. So that's what I really like about the case, definitely. And I think most cases nowadays are starting to adapt to it or something. I can't remember. So for my CD or DVD drive or optical drive, I chose just a standard Light-On CD DVD reader writer, and I'm pretty happy with that. It doesn't have Blu-ray, but I don't really use Blu-ray discs anyway. So then for the hard drive, I chose a Seagate 3TB hard drive. And yes, I do know that Seagate has been known to make a lot of unreliable hard drives lately, but I think this is one that I got before they started making unreliable hard drives. So far it's always been working just fine. So, and I use this software utility called Crystal Disk Info, and I always check that every day to check if there's a warning. That means I better get another hard drive and probably backup drive quick so I can back up my files and not lose them. Because of course I don't have a backup. I just have to hope. I'm on a 50-50 chance of losing stuff right now, but so far I've been good. I don't think I will for a while, so I'm pretty good on that. So then for the motherboard, I believe I chose the Asus Z87 Pro LGA 1150 socket motherboard, and I am pretty happy with that. And I would say the hardest component to choose was definitely the motherboard, because I had to make sure it was compatible with everything. And at the time I wasn't aware of like PC Part Picker and those websites. I wasn't aware of that, and I just wish I would have known about those websites back then, because I spent a long time trying to choose all the parts and to make sure that they would all be compatible and work together. And yes, they do all work together, so that's good. So then for the CPU, I chose the Intel Core i5-4670K, and I don't plan on overclocking or anything like that. If you're an overclocker, and you get an Intel CPU, make sure it has a K at the end. So then for the RAM, I believe I just chose the Crucial Ballistic Sport 16GB kit. So I got 16GB of RAM, and I would say it works pretty well. It's at 1600 megahertz frequency, and right now for me in the Windows 7 system rating, that's what's rated the highest. So then for the operating system, it should seem pretty obvious if you've seen in my previous videos. I obviously chose Windows 7, particularly Home Premium 64-bit edition, I believe. And for the graphics card, I chose the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 750. Again, I didn't want like the best one like the 980. Actually, the 1080 is coming out pretty soon, and 1070. But I chose the 750, and it was a pretty reasonable price. And nothing could beat the performance of the graphics card that I have for the buck. So I definitely thought it was worth getting that. And I believe that's all I had. I am pretty happy with this computer so far. Lately, I don't know if the performance has been that great. It's been a little bit weird lately, but I think that's because of the NVIDIA drivers or something like that. Some of the latest drivers are starting to get really buggy, and I actually read that somewhere that one of the updates actually kills NVIDIA graphics cards, so I knew not to upgrade. Lately I started double checking to make sure that the upgrade doesn't have that many bugs, and the first time I did that, I saw that the one upgrade killed graphics cards, and I felt pretty lucky that I checked, because if I didn't check, my graphics card probably wouldn't be working, and I would have to go with integrated graphics for a little while. And that was the first time I checked too, so that was a little bit ironic to look at. And I don't know if I mentioned that I had to reinstall my operating system one time. Yeah, I think I actually did on the How to Get Windows 10 for Free video. I don't even know why the heck I made that video in the first place. I think it was because after I reinstalled, I didn't have the Windows 10 upgrade reserved yet, so I made that video because at the same time with the After Effects video editor, I wanted to experiment with panning and zooming. And I just made that video, and I don't even know why I put it on YouTube. I guess I just ended up doing that for no reason. That video did get quite a lot of views, and I kind of doubt anyone liked it. That doesn't matter to me anyway. So now the reason I had to upgrade or reinstall Windows 7 is a very, very stupid reason. I'll tell you that right now. So I guess I could explain that real quickly. So, okay, as I mentioned before, I got a 3 terabyte hard drive, and when I went to install my operating system and I went on to the desktop, I went into my computer, and for newer versions of Windows, this PC, I went to that, and it only showed like 1.99 terabytes, and I was like, why? And actually, fun fact, it's not measured in terabytes, it's actually measured in another unit called tebibytes. And 1 tebibyte is equivalent to about 1.1 terabytes, I think. But that's why you go out to buy a new hard drive or a computer that says like, oh, 1 or 2 terabytes. That's why you go to buy or you go to buy like a 1 terabyte hard drive, let's say, and then you use it, and in Windows and other operating systems, it'll only say about like 931 or something like that. That's because it's actually measured in gigabytes, and gigabytes also. My electricity just went out. Okay, my electricity just went out. I have a storm right now, actually. I probably shouldn't even have my stuff plugged in. So, that was a little bit weird. Great. Now, my videos have been encoding for about an hour or two, and now basically I'm going to have to re-encode everything again. It's possible that it won't come out tonight. Probably. So yeah, I got a 3 terabyte hard drive. It's equivalent to about 931 gigabytes, as I mentioned before. And so I got 3 terabytes, and it only showed up as 1.99 gigabytes. And so I went into the computer management under the virtual disk service, I believe. I checked under there, and then it was like 750 some gigabytes unallocated, something like that. And I tried to extend the volume, and I went through the wizard, and it said I couldn't do it, and I couldn't figure out why that is. And I think the reason why was because it wouldn't work with the master boot record partition table, and I was trying to figure out how to do that, and I was thinking it was because of a certain motherboard driver that I needed to have for compatibility with more than 2 terabytes or something like that. I tried looking everywhere and I couldn't find it. So actually, you know what, I don't mean to interrupt what I was talking about before, but if the background looks different, like after the electricity went out, I actually have these lights called Philips Hue, and I think they're LED lights that can pretty much change into any color, and that's the default one. That's 2700K, I believe, like normal incandescent colored lights, and I like to have it on 6500K best, or the daylight colors. And I'm gonna switch it back. I guess I could show you some of it real quickly. I'm not gonna have it face the light up there, but I'm going to, so you can see it in the background anyway. So I'm gonna go get my phone real quickly. Okay, so I use a third-party app called Hue Pro. Not sure if you can see that okay, but inside of my desk I have the Philips Hue bridge. I'm not going to show you that right now, but it basically connects between my phone and the lights. The lights and the phone use some sort of technology, I forget what it's called, and then from my bridge to this, it uses Wi-Fi. I have an Ethernet cable connected to there to my router. And it's having trouble finding my bridge right now. That always happens when we either reboot the router or modem, because I'm having some sort of problem. Actually, I have another household. They're all the way out there. We're using an extender, and the signal is horrible out there sometimes, and rebooting it helps. And the IP address always resets then, so I have to repair my bridge and all that, which kind of sucks, but I finally found my bridge, so I'm going to select that real quickly, and it's successfully loaded. So this is what I like to have it on all the time. So, and one of my favorite colors to use is definitely this one. I don't know if you can see it, but it's all blue. Like, it looks so weird right now, just looking all around my room. And I have a tennis ball in here, and it looks super bright. And it looks pretty dark in here. It's actually pretty light outside, but for me today the weather's been pretty crappy, like rainy, and there was a thunderstorm. Electricity kept going out, and as you could see before, it did again. So, and this color is kind of cool too. It's red and blue combined, I think. And this is actually dank time right here. I don't know what you use it for. I think you use it for like when you browse dank memes, that kind of thing. So that's kind of cool. And this also looks kind of crazy on my eyes. Red. It looks kind of cool though too. And on Hue Pro, I recently bought this extra feature called Lava Lamp, and what that does is basically the lights constantly change color. I don't know if you can see the background, but it almost looks like I'm at a party right now. So anyway, back to business. I'm going to get it back on the colors, and I will start talking about it again. So yeah, I was in the disk management trying to figure it out, and I believe I was trying to read how to do it, and it said something about me needing to have a GPT or GUID partition table, and I was trying to do research on how to get that, and I would have to reinstall my operating system, and the drive, I don't think it could even be formatted yet. And this doesn't take place with just separate partitions, it takes place for the whole hard drive, the whole physical hard drive itself. So I tried converting it, then there's this thing in disk part, and that's a command prompt program. That didn't work, so I was looking up how to convert it to GPT without having to reinstall my operating system, and so I found this software, I think called AOMEI Partition Assistant, and I think I bought that, and I'm pretty happy with that so far. And I previously owned the Ease US Partition Master. It don't have as many features on there, but I've always had that program, so that was my favorite partition manager. And I'm not sure what my favorite partition manager is right now between those two, but so I got the program, and then I did that, then I opened it up, properly licensed it, then I selected my drive, and I saw the option to convert it to GPT. I tried doing that, and then it gave me a warning to make sure my motherboard was UEFI compatible or EFI compatible. I think it stands for Universal Extensible Firmware Interface or something. I don't remember, sorry about that. But yeah, I had to make sure I had that compatible with my motherboard, and I was pretty sure I did, because I read it somewhere, and in my BIOS screen, I think it says UEFI BIOS, so I was pretty sure it was compatible. So then I converted it, and then I rebooted the computer, because that's what I had to do after it gave me that warning. So then I tried booting, and it wouldn't boot. But then I went to my BIOS, and then it showed my normal hard drive, and then another UEFI thing that kind of looked like my hard drive, or else another disk drive, like an optical drive or something like that. So then I tried to make that number 1 in the BIOS boot order, and then I tried rebooting that, and it did successfully boot, but instead of the normal Windows 7 boot screen that I'm always used to, it did the one that normally belongs to Windows Vista or Windows Longhorn or Codename, I think. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that, and you're probably thinking that's why I had to reinstall my operating system. Nope, the problem actually occurred about 10 days later. So after I booted on there successfully, then I have a GPT partition table. I went to computer management, the virtual disk service, and then I tried extending it, and it was finally able to extend. So I was pretty happy about that. So after I extended that, well, later on, after that, I wanted to play Minecraft, and then I started a Tech It series, I believe. It's not on YouTube or anything like that, but I did it just for fun, I guess. And it kept on crashing, and I was trying to figure out why it's crashing. And then I decided to maybe downgrade my video drivers a little bit. I have NVIDIA. At the time, I think the latest version was like 355.82, something like that. And I downgraded to 353 something, I forget what. But so I downgraded from 355 to 353, I think. And it didn't fix the crashing problem, but it definitely crashed a lot less, so I kept it. And then I've been able to hibernate just fine too. And then one day I had to leave my house for the day. I was working on my computer before that. And then when I left, I hibernated my computer, and that was the first time after I downgraded the graphics driver. And then I left, and then after I came back, unfortunately the computer, I tried booting the computer on normal Asus whatever boot screen, I forget what you call it, BIOS screen or something like that. No, not really. That's where you configure everything. What do you call it? Like when you start up your computer and it shows like Asus or HP or whatever. I don't remember what you call it, but it showed that, then it wouldn't boot up for some reason, and I was trying to think of all the possible reasons why that could have happened, and I was sitting next to my computer at the time, and then I was thinking about how I hibernated, and I thought, uh-oh. So then I tried rebooting it, and I think a menu came up like saying some that I don't remember what it said, like something about my hibernation file being corrupt, and that's a red alert, because that's not good to have a hibernation file corrupt when your master boot record is corrupt at the same time. That's like the worst case scenario, having both of them corrupt. A combination of both of those is terrible. So after I tried to delete restoration data and proceed to boot menu, that didn't work, unfortunately. So then I was trying to think of what I could do. I was like, if I could delete the hibernation file, the hiberfill.sys hibernation file located in the root of your main boot drive. I was like, if I could delete that, then I would probably be able to boot just fine. So I got my Windows 7 installation disk and I put that in there. And then I booted that up, and I think it said like, well, the version of the repair disk that I had wasn't compatible or something like that. I don't remember what it said, but it said something about it not being compatible, and I was like, oh great. So I was thinking if I had a repair disk, which would have been the latest version, because you know you get the updates for Windows Update, and another household has another computer with the same Windows 7 Home Premium 64-bit, so I asked them if I could use their computer, and then I made a repair disk for that. And then I put it into there, and that didn't make it any better. What I was going to do is I was going to load the repair disk, and then I get like the recovery options, and don't remember exactly what it says, but there's a way to access command prompt. So it would say X:, and then source whatever. I would change that to C:, and then I was going to delete DEL for delete, then hiberfill.sys, and so I was going to try deleting that, but since it didn't work, I actually got the EaseUS partition master, and I believe I made a emergency boot disk on a spare laptop that I have down in my basement. So I made a spare boot disk, and then I booted this computer into that, and after I did that, then I did that because I remembered something about being able to access the command line on there. So I did that, and I think it was another X:, but somewhere else. Then I tried deleting it, then I wanted to back it up. I tried copy to somewhere else. That didn't work. I used dir to locate it to make sure that it was in there. And then I tried Xcopy. That didn't work either. So that was pretty frustrating. So and I was like, you know what? It can't get any worse than it already is. So I just decided to delete it. And I deleted that, and it still couldn't boot up, I don't think. So then I was trying to think of what else I could do, and then I realized my master boot record is corrupt. So I was like, I need to convert it from GPT back to master boot record. Luckily, I wasn't using that much data, probably like 400 gigabytes or something like that. But so I tried converting it back, and it wouldn't let me do that. Like, I kept getting an error message, and like it was saying the partition was more than 2 terabytes, and I was like, what? I'm not using more than 2 terabytes. And then shortly after that, I realized that I wasn't using that much, but then I had a partition greater than 2 terabytes. So then I believe I shrunk it to that it was like barely 2 terabytes or 1.99. Actually, yeah, tebibytes though. So I just converted to that. And then I think it worked, and I still couldn't boot into the disk. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I don't think I could boot into the disk. So then I tried the AOMEI partition assistant. Well, actually I used a boot disk on that to convert it back. I was able to convert it back from that boot disk. I have 2 different disks for each program. It's really useful, but yeah, I tried converting it back, which really sucked. It worked though, but after I converted it back, yeah, the Windows installation disk didn't load, and so then I tried to rebuild MBR. I don't remember exactly what happened, but then I eventually went into the recovery part of the disk, and all of a sudden it detected my installation or something, or it was able to work just fine all of a sudden. And so that was a sigh of relief. So then I did the automatic system repair, and it detected problems and would fix any if it detected any, or attempt to fix any, but that didn't help at all. So then I think after that, at that point, I was like, you know what, I need to reinstall Windows. But of course I didn't want to lose any of my files, because I didn't have backup then either. So I believe what I did was, I wanted to reinstall Windows. So then with the unallocated memory, I wanted to create another partition to reinstall Windows in, because I have like 700 some gigabytes unallocated. So I tried to reinstall Windows on there, and I couldn't create a partition on there because it said something about more than 2 terabytes, partition being more than 2 terabytes. And I was like, I don't have a partition more than 2 terabytes. But then I remembered that it applies to the whole drive, not just the partition sizes themselves. So it's not like you could just get an 8 terabyte hard drive with master boot record and create 4 2 terabyte partitions about. It's not like you could just do that either. So then I was trying to figure out what I can do to reinstall Windows and all that. So I was trying to think of what I could do then, and then I was like, oh, I think I know what I need to do. I need to shrink the 2 terabyte partition that's already there, and then make that unallocated and created a partition from that. And then I tried that, and I still could not install Windows, even with the non-corrupt master boot record. I did rebuild MBR on there, and I tried reinstalling, and then I got this error message saying that I couldn't do it. And so I was trying to think of what I could do. And then on there, what I did was, I created the partition first or something, but it still didn't show up as unallocated. That didn't work. So I think I created the partition, and then, because you know how partitions, like you create a 2 terabyte partition, and without anything on there, with the, I forget what you call it, like file system something, you have to have allocation size in bytes or something. Like with flash drives, usually the default is 4096 bytes, and with the partition, I think it's like 100 some megabytes. So I considered that with stuff on there, even though there was no stuff on there. So then I wiped free space on that partition, and then I tried reinstalling on there. I still couldn't do it, but then I pressed the new button, and I was able to create a partition on there, which I did try before and couldn't do. So then I was finally able to reinstall Windows. That was after a couple days when I spent all day troubleshooting it. I stayed up really, really late trying to get that, and I just kept giving up. I really wanted to get stuff done, but that was so annoying. So then I reinstalled Windows and stuff on there. And then I decided I'm not going to do GPT this time, and I'm definitely not going to have graphics drivers not up to date. So I'll make sure I have it up to date and stuff, and then I should be good to go. And right now I haven't been using the master boot record, but when I was installing all my drivers and stuff with the motherboard and graphics driver, I ran across this application that came with the motherboard disk, and I think it was called Disk Unlocker. I was reading what that was, and then it said it unlocked memory with hard drives greater than 2 terabytes and stuff like that. So then I installed that, and then I was able to create another partition with that unused memory. And I was like, do I really have to have another partition? But then I'm totally fine with that. So I have a 1.99 terabyte partition. Normally with a regular 2 terabyte hard drive, it would be 1.81 about. But I like having the 1.99 instead of that. So with the second partition, what I've been doing is I use Fraps as my main screen recorder. If things seem laggy, it's because it's recording at a really, really high bit rate, especially on 1080p. That's why I always switch to 1600 by 900 just to reduce the bit rate, but that definitely helped. But if there's lag, it's because of that really high bit rate with my hard drive speed. I could record to my SSD, but it eats up memory fast. And you know, with flash memory, especially an SSD, you can only write to it a certain number of times before the sector dies, and then the sectors get weak and then they die. Then when they all die, then the hard drive fails. And doesn't seem like it would take very long to blow through just by recording uncompressed frap videos, because uncompressed videos take up a lot of memory, I would say. As a matter of fact, the part 5, when I exported it before, I made a few mistakes. I corrected them today, and the final size was about 600 some gigabytes just for the uncompressed file. It's about 29 minutes some seconds, but 600 gigabytes. That's just for the uncompressed file. Then when I compress it, it would go down to roughly less than 100 megabytes. That's like a big difference in it. Look, the video looks the same, has the same quality, audio quality, video quality, stuff like that. So I've just been saving my fraps recordings inside of there, and then my main drive for whatever else. So, I mean, it kind of sucks that I have to have 2 separate partitions, but it works. So, what I do then is I create the folder for each video, platform part 5, final touches, that kind of thing. And then there's stuff that I need to create, like temporary images that I put on there, like what the sprites look like, that kind of thing. And I only need it for that video. Like after that, I can just literally delete it. So what I do is I just store them in that video on that partition with the fraps recordings into that folder. Then I can just use it once, and then when I'm done editing that video and it's all finalized and stuff, then I can just delete that, and it works really well that way. So that's what I use it for now. It kind of sucks that you have 2 separate partitions that I mentioned, but it's really nice for whatever I use it for with all that stuff. So that's pretty much why I do install my operating system. Okay, so you saw how Sausage Hunter works, and I've been doing the coding aspects instead of the drag and drop. I am trying to get away from that too. I've been doing that for a while for all my other Game Maker projects, but like I said, when I convert, it's a drag and drop, I do what the GML equivalent to the drag and drop, so that it looks the same, but it's in the coding version instead of the drag and drop. So that's what I'm going to pretty much be doing for the coding version. And I mean, if you could probably figure it out yourself if you knew a bit of GML. I mean, I'm not that great at GML, pretty good to where I can make some pretty decent games. And yeah, with Game Maker Studio as well, it may face some challenges because certain things will work a little bit differently, or some functions, like the high score table as I mentioned before, would probably not work at all. So yeah, so that's some of the challenges, and that's pretty much all I have. So I want to thank you guys for having a good channel for a couple years. I know I have to leave, I'm sorry about that, guys, but yeah, so, and I haven't been able to upload. I've only uploaded 1 video every 2 months. That was kind of stupid. I've had a bunch of schoolwork, and actually recently I've had an ear infection. Started middle of February, somewhere like the 13th or something like that, and it lasted all the way till June. That was a ridiculously long ear infection, and I've been missing a lot of school from that, and I've had tons of extra homework. It was really overwhelming, and that is why I wasn't able to make that many videos since February. Now it's summer vacation, so I do have a bit more time, and like I said, I'll still be able to make videos in the meantime. So maybe when I bring back my new channel, if possible, I'll be uploading videos on there probably every other day for what I've been doing for the past couple years. And I am starting a new series called PCHelpfulTips, which I think my channel was supposed to be dedicated to that in the first place. So then I just started doing Game Maker tutorials all of a sudden. But yeah, with PCHelpfulTips, stuff like that, I think it's going to be stuff with probably certain software and stuff to make you more productive on PCs, stuff like that maybe. I think I was going to have the first episode about how to get rid of the Windows 10 notification. That's going to be outdated by the time I bring my channel back, so I'll just explain it now. So all you have to do, there's some free software. I used to have this program called GWX Stopper, and actually now it's known as GWX Control Panel, and that gets rid of the Windows 10 upgrade, so I haven't been getting annoyed by it. And there's another software I think called Never 10, probably some other software. Those are the ones I know of though. So, and I was gonna have another video like certain tutorials on the computer too. Like I was just recently coming across how to install Chrome extensions in Opera, the web browser. I don't personally use Opera, but I do see how that can be useful, and I have known that Opera doesn't have that many extensions, and you got all these awesome extensions in Chrome. So now there's a way to install Chrome extensions in Opera, and you may or may not have already known that, but that's the kind of stuff I would probably make, and maybe keyboard shortcuts, that kind of thing too. I don't really know yet, but hopefully not too much of the stuff is outdated by the time I have the new channel back. So yeah, sorry I have to leave. If you're watching my gaming tutorials, I think there's some other alternatives. I'll give you a quick list if you don't know some of these people already. So I'll give you a quick little list of other people you can check out. I recommend checking out Heartbeast. I don't really watch him that much, but he's got really good tutorials. And Real Touch GML, he's probably the one that I watch most often for programming tutorials, like Game Anchor, of course, GML, and then Java, and I forget what else, like C++, some Unity, just a couple, but yeah, so they've got some really good programming tutorials on there. And I think you got like Master Indie, stuff like that. And actually, I would recommend checking out Real Touch GML's website, codingmadesimple.com. There's some courses, aka some YouTube channels that are on there too, so I would recommend checking out some of those. And I know GML Touch is another person that I watch sometimes for their Minecraft series in particular. And some of my favorite YouTube channels, like tech channels, well, this is a guy who makes fake tech tutorials, and sometimes his videos are insane. Theo or Theo, or however you pronounce it. So I would recommend checking him out if you want to see fake tutorials, like, I don't know, how to get gigabit internet speed for free. He's got all that down. He showed a tutorial on how to do that, and he even explained the physics of why all that stuff works too, so it's really awesome to watch. And then Theo Tech, he has real stuff on there. That's probably the tech channel I watch most often. Then the one I watch second most often, Linus Tech Tips, and then Tech Quickie. That's actually Linus Tech Tips' second channel, I believe. And actually his Linus Media Group team also makes videos on there too. So it's not just Linus on his channel. It's like Luke, and I forget who else is on there. And then for computer building guides, I watch Kerry Holtzman. I recommend checking him out. He's got computer building guides and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool to watch. And you've probably heard of some of these already, but those are just some of the guys I watch. And then for entertainment purposes, Theo for just tech tutorials and stuff. So I believe that is it. Again, I want to thank you guys for having a couple years. Again, I'm sorry I have to leave, but check out some of those other guys that I mentioned. And leave any comments you may have down in the comment section below. And if you have any videos you want to see, like right before I delete it, because I'm not going to have those tutorials on there for very long. So if you know how to download it, like you just paste the URL on different websites, like savefrom.net, I believe, Clip Converter, and KeepVid or something like that. And actually, you can go into YouTube URL if you want to download the video. Instead of having like www.youtube.com/watch?v equals whatever, you can do like www.ssyoutube.com, and it forwards you to a save from URL. And you can just download videos from there, and the link automatically and search for whatever video you do, so that's really useful. And they've also got some add-ons too. So yeah, enough talk about that. So I want to thank you guys once again, and I believe that is actually it. So I will see you next time, and as always, peace